Neil deGrasse Tyson. The only man who could ruin a sunrise, a superhero movie, and your faith in science, all before breakfast. He's the cosmic overlord of smug, the planet slayer of Pluto, the guy who makes fun facts feel like detention. Neil's career is one long Twitter thread of, "Did you seriously just say that?" Buckle up because we're diving into the black hole of arrogance and controversy. This is Everything Wrong with Neil deGrasse Tyson. Sorry to interrupt, but Neil deGrasse Tyson says subscribing increases your IQ by 6%. Not verified, but worth a shot, right? Thanks. Astronarcissist origins. You ever wonder what happens when a Bronx kid with a telescope and a superiority complex gets a PhD? Well, meet Neil deGrasse Tyson. Born in 1958 to a sociologist's dad and a gerontologist's mom, Neil was basically raised to be a know-it-all. He studied physics at Harvard, earned a PhD in astrophysics, and somewhere along the way mistook charisma for a scientific qualification. Childhood anecdotes include him lecturing adults about constellations at age 11, because that's always charming at dinner parties. But it wasn't his research that made him famous. Nope, it was his knack for shoehorning science into every pop culture event and explaining gravity like it's breaking news. Yep, the man built an empire not on discovery, but on sounding smart to people too polite to Google. Tyson didn't just reach for the stars. He built a talk show on them, wrapped in ego, and sprinkled with smugness. Tyson knows best. So guys, let me tell you, Neil deGrasse Tyson is the only man who can make a room full of people hate science in under 30 seconds. His trademark move? Interrupting joy with facts no one asked for. Did you tweet about a beautiful sunset? Tyson's already replying with a lecture on Rayleigh scattering. Watching Titanic? Don't worry, Neil's here to ruin the ending. Again, by telling you the stars were wrong in that one romantic boat scene. He's like Wikipedia with a superiority complex. The guy struts around like he invented the laws of physics, smirking through interviews as if he's the only one on Earth who's ever passed a high school chemistry test. Even other scientists roll their eyes, and that's saying something. There's a thin line between communicating science and performing it, and Tyson pole vaulted over that line into full-blown smug Broadway review. At this point, the only thing he's gravitationally bound to is his own ego. Philosophy? Never heard of her. Now imagine being so in love with your own voice that you publicly declare one of the oldest intellectual disciplines in human history useless. Tyson once told a room full of thinkers that philosophy was basically navel-gazing for people afraid of math. Bold move, Neil, especially from a guy who spends most of his time doing Galaxy TED Talks and tweeting about cereal box trivia. According to Neil, philosophy is a waste of time because it doesn't make measurable progress. You know, unlike tweeting the physics of Santa Claus. Critics, and by that I mean every philosopher with a pulse, clapped back, pointing out that Tyson's entire career relies on ideas rooted in epistemology, logic, and, wait for it, philosophy. But Neil kept swinging, dismissing Socrates like he ghosted him in grad school. It takes a special kind of scientist to declare war on the very field that made scientific thinking possible. But hey, who needs critical thinking when you've got cosmic charisma and a Netflix special? Carl Sagan's biggest fan. If the late Carl Sagan was the warm, poetic voice that made science feel like a cosmic love story, Neil deGrasse Tyson is the substitute teacher who confiscates your fun. Tyson has made a career of declaring himself the heir to Sagan's legacy, like a guy who insists he's the next Beethoven because he once played chopsticks at a recital. Sure, Sagan hosted Cosmos and so did Tyson, but only one of them did it without turning it into an audition tape for Marvel. Tyson's version of Cosmos was less pale blue dot and more praise this smirking dot. Fans of Sagan found the comparison laughable, noting that Tyson's version lacked humility, awe, or, let's face it, soul. He even called Sagan a personal mentor, which is ironic since Tyson seems to have learned all the wrong lessons. Where Sagan whispered wonder, Tyson shouts, "Actually, through a megaphone." You can almost hear the universe sighing. The man who killed Pluto. This is without a doubt the most unforgivable crime. committing planetary genocide.
Pluto's orbit crosses that of another planet. That's no kind of behavior for a planet.
In 2006, Tyson led the charge to reclassify Pluto as a dwarf planet, effectively evicting it from the elite celestial neighborhood. Kids cried, teachers despaired. Astronomers side-eyed him like he'd punched Galileo. Tyson wore the backlash like a badge of honor, turning Pluto hater into his entire personality for a while. He even showcased the hate mail he got from children, because apparently, traumatizing 5th graders is peak science communication. Tyson insisted it was all about scientific accuracy, but come on, Neil. There's a fine line between astrophysics and astrofun spoiling, and you moonwalked over it with a smirk. Pluto may be small, icy, and far away, but compared to Tyson's ego, it's practically humble. Mars? Don't bother? Elon Musk said, "Let's colonize Mars and make humanity multiplanetary." Neil deGrasse Tyson, "Actually, let's not because reasons." While Musk was busy launching Teslas into orbit and dreaming of Martian cities, Tyson played galactic gatekeeper.
So Elon, what do you want to do? I want to go to Mars. How much will it cost? $1 trillion. Is it safe? No, people will probably die. What's the return on the investment? Nothing. That's a 5-minute meeting and it doesn't happen.
Publicly throwing shade at the whole idea of Mars colonization. He questioned the feasibility, called it impractical, and basically rolled his eyes into another dimension. Musk, never one to let a jab go unanswered, clapped back, accusing Tyson of not getting it, which is Elon speak for stay in your planetarium lane. It was the nerd equivalent of a rap beef, only with more payload mass calculations. Tyson's critiques weren't entirely wrong, but his dismissive tone made it clear. If humanity's future doesn't involve a TED Talk by him every 12 hours, he's not interested. Mars might be hostile, barren, and airless, but at least it's safe from unsolicited Neil monologues. The Space Groper Files. And here we thought black holes were the scariest thing in the cosmos. From 1984 to 2018, Tyson managed to rack up more allegations than Pluto got votes to stay a planet. It started with Chia Amet, who claimed he drugged and took advantage of her in grad school.
And the next thing I remember is coming to naked in his bed, and I couldn't move.
Then came Professor Caitlin Allers, who said he followed her tattoo into her dress like it was the Rosetta Stone. And let's not forget Ashley Watson, his assistant on Cosmos, who quit after an awkward wine and cheese evening turned into what she called an inappropriate advance. Tyson said it was all just misunderstood hugs and cosmic handshakes. But the investigations hit pause on his public appearances, shows, and reputation. National Geographic and Fox did eventually let him back on the air, which proves once again, if you're a beloved science guy with TV ratings, space might be infinite. Red Hat, Big Bang? Back to April 2025. Neil deGrasse Tyson decided to tweet a picture holding a MAGA hat like he was Indiana Jones discovering a cursed artifact. Relax, he said, it's just among other red hats. You know, like that makes it better. Fans who once worshipped at the altar of Bill Nye 2.0 suddenly saw him flirting with Trump-flavored branding, and the timeline lit up like a supernova of betrayal. Some saw it as an ironic joke, others as a full pivot to right-wing grift mode. The backlash was instant. Unfollows, call-outs, think pieces, and an entire subreddit meltdown. Tyson, master of pedantic clarity, somehow couldn't predict that holding a MAGA hat in 2025 might send the wrong message. Maybe the real experiment was seeing how fast you could alienate your core fan base in 280 characters. Wow. Beam me up, ego. During a 2025 live event in Seattle, Tyson proudly brought up his cameo on SpongeBob SquarePants as it was his Nobel Prize moment. But Captain Kirk was not impressed. William Shatner clapped back with the kind of sarcasm that could sterilize a petri dish, joking that Tyson's greatest contribution might be those 15 animated seconds. The crowd laughed. Tyson tried to play it cool, but his ego visibly entered a lower orbit. This wasn't just shade. It was a total eclipse of the smug. The moment was so brutal you could practically hear Tyson's smug meter rebooting in real time. The man who's made a living mic dropping on the universe got verbally suplexed by a 90-something-year-old space cowboy. And the best part? Shatner wasn't even mad. He was just tired of the space showboating. Flat Earth rap battle. Yes, this actually happened. In 2016, rapper Bob took a break from irrelevance to declare the Earth was flat, because science class apparently skipped him. Tyson could have responded with data, or maybe a friendly reminder about satellites and globe photos, but no. He dropped a diss track, a real, auto-tuned, full-blown rap beef. Tyson's nephew even joined in, because what every astrophysics debate needs is a SoundCloud cameo. Instead of elevating the conversation, Tyson stooped to bars like, "I'm scientifically literate, you're not." Iconic. Nothing says professional science communicator like battling conspiracy theorists through mixtapes. The internet exploded, half laughing, half cringing. While Bob spiraled into his own anti-NASA rabbit hole, Tyson emerged looking like he just lost a spelling bee to a kindergartner and blamed the dictionary. When you're the face of science and your go-to rebuttal is a rap, maybe it's time to reevaluate your outreach strategy, or at least your flow. Science or stand-up? If you've ever wanted astrophysics delivered with jazz hands, Tyson is your guy. His theatrical science communication style is part classroom, part Vegas act, and all ego. He can't just explain gravity. He has to dramatize it like he's auditioning for Hamilton. Watching him describe basic physics is like watching a magician who insists you applaud every time he ties his shoes. He'll pause for effect, widen his eyes like he just discovered the Higgs boson personally, and hit you with the "did you know?" like it's a mic drop. Never mind that what he's saying is already in a 6th grade textbook. Critics have called it dumbing down science, pandering to pop culture, and hijacking public trust in experts for YouTube clout. But Tyson calls it inspiration. Sure, if you're inspired by overacted lectures and smug delivery. Somewhere out there, Carl Sagan's ghost is facepalming into the Milky Way. Science deserves drama, but not like this. Poll king of clickbait. Neil deGrasse Tyson doesn't just tweet about science. He uses X like it's his personal philosophy 101 fan poll edition. Choose your political hat, he asked in a now legendary 2025 post, featuring a MAGA cap right in the mix, sandwiched between science logos and a NASA beanie like it was just another brand at Lids. Then came the climate change hypotheticals, the "is free speech still free?" debates, and a poll asking whether emotions matter more than data. Because nothing screams scientific rigor like a yes/no box with emojis. Critics, fans, and anyone with a brain accused him of farming engagement through faux intellectual bait rather than actually educating people. And surprise, he rarely follows up on the results. These polls aren't about inquiry. They're click-hungry thought traps designed to keep Tyson trending and his smug brand afloat. Forget the telescope, Neil. Maybe try a mirror. The only thing you're exploring lately is the edge of your own relevance. Oxygen leak? Meh. In 2025, when the Axiom 4 space mission was delayed due to, just a minor little oxygen leak, Tyson's response was basically, chill, it's not rocket science. Except, it literally is. While NASA engineers scrambled to fix a potentially fatal issue, Tyson casually downplayed the delay like it was just bad weather postponing a backyard barbecue. This is part of the process, he said, with the calm detachment of a guy who thinks pressurization is an optional setting. Astronauts? Safety protocols? Public anxiety? Meh. Tyson's main concern seemed to be making sure everyone knew delays are just science doing its thing. No biggie. Because nothing says trusted science voice, like acting aloof when literal oxygen systems fail. It's almost like he forgot this wasn't another sci-fi movie he was nitpicking, but real people in a real metal tube 250 miles above Earth. Houston, we have a hubris problem. And there you have it. For all his ego, drama, and cosmic cringe, Neil deGrasse Tyson still made science cool for a generation that thought Saturn was just a car brand. What do you think of Neil deGrasse Tyson? Let me know down below. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.